Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host, the meteorologist DT from Weather Risk here in Central Virginia, your commander of chaos, your captain of confusion, your colonel of catastrophe. Let's talk about This Week in Weather for this February 7th. Going into February 8th, a lot to talk about here. Looks like another mild week here in the central and eastern U.S., a lot of 50s and 60s, February 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and maybe even the 12th. The 12th, of course, will be the transition when we get the big Midwest, Ohio Valley, East Coast storm coming in. There is going to be a significant low on February 11, 12, which will bring in heavy rain to the Tennessee Valley, the southeastern states, the mid-Atlantic, and southern New England. Now, of course, it might go over to snow in southern New England, still not determined yet, but we'll see. And there is the risk of moderate to heavy snowfall in the Ohio Valley, western Pennsylvania, western upstate New York, and interior New England. And then after that, it's going to get much colder after February 14th, and there are strong indications of a major eastern U.S. low that could become a major snowfall for the mid-Atlantic and New England. So let's get right to it. First, before we start, here's the website in case you want to see it. That's what it looks like. And you can go to the shop up in here. We have all the different snow removal products, the 3-week newsletter, the daily mid-Atlantic forecast, all sorts of great stuff for you to look at and buy if you're interested in that sort of stuff. And then also, here's the two different Twitter pages that I have for winter weather. Now, the one on the left is the Twitter page, snowstorm page. It's up to about 9,000 followers now. And then this is the Threads page, up to about 1,000 followers there. So there we go. And then this is the grain page, just in case you're looking at it. This is the grain Twitter page, just for my grain clients. And of course, there's the Facebook page as always. All right. Now, I thought I'd start out this time here taking a look at the MJO because that's kind of useful and it helps tell us what's going on with the pattern. For the past several weeks, the various MJO models have been showing that we are going to get a stall somewhere in area phase 6 or 7. So let me call up the marker here so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's phase 6 and there's phase 7. And now I remember looking about this in early January, we were seeing the models showing a stall somewhere in phase 6. It did a little loop-de-loop, this little curl like it did here. You know, one of these curls. And then it changed. It's like later on phase 6 and then phase 7 here in mid and late January. And that's where we are now. This is as of February 6th. You can see it stalling right here, going back and forth in phase 7. It's having a lot of trouble getting to phase 8. So that's kind of important. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because this is what looks like phase 7 here in February, and also January for that matter. You can see this is February in particular. So you blow up the map here so you can see it a little more. Okay, so there's your big ridge dominating most of the country, right? And then you have this huge trough in the eastern Pacific, which has just moved into the west coast. It brought the huge rains and torrential flooding and devastation and high winds to California this past weekend. That trough has moved in. And then you have a trough offshore. But generally, this is a mild pattern because there's no way to get cold air into the United States with this big ridge sitting right here. That ridge prevents the cold air from coming in. So that's what we will be looking at. And sure enough, if you look at the temperature and precip in there, you can see it's exactly what's happened. Dry on the East Coast for the most part, good rains in the Midwest, and above normal temperatures. Now, over the next 2 weeks here are the MJO. So we have the European and there's the Australian. And both of these are, taking out the biases. So what's happening is the models are showing a movement of the MJO into phase 8, which is, to be expected. We've been saying that for a long time. But what's different here is that the European only has it phase 8 for a couple of days. You see what it does? It brings it in here. Then there's a little curlicule back to phase 7, which is not great for East Coast, East Coast weather. Phase 8 is, but not phase 7. And then it goes into the neutral circle for late February into March. That's not ideal at all. I'm not happy to see that. The Australians are doing the same sort of thing. Notice the big loop-de-loop here in phase 7, and then it goes into phase 8 around February 15, 16, 17, and then it goes into the neutral circle. So this is a change. And when I'm thinking here that this event, the possibility of something around President's Day, may be the only chance we have on the East Coast this winter. Unless the MJO, maybe these models are wrong. Maybe the MJO is going to go out into phase 8 or phase 1. And this is a recent change. It's possible the MJO models might move back into phase 8 or phase 1 or phase 2 or what have you. But right now, it doesn't look good for the end of February in terms of if you want to know where the MJO is going to be and what the pattern might look like for the eastern United States. It doesn't look great if it goes in the neutral circle. All right, that's a long way off. So the point here is we are going to get into phase 8, and that's a good sign. And the reason that's a good sign is because of this. All right, so this is phase 8 here in February, and you can see it's a much, much colder pattern, and it's fairly dry, but this is, a little deceptive here. Some of these light brown colors are just barely below normal. And if you look at the upper air pattern, you can see here, there's a huge blocking pattern in Greenland and the Arctic region. There's your split flow in your jet. One jet's going up this way, the other one's to the south, and there's your very strong negative anomaly in the mid-Atlantic, which produces big East Coast winter storms. Now, just because you're going into phase 8 doesn't mean you're going to get one. It just means it's more favorable. All right? So let's not get carried away here. All right. Now let's talk about the first event, February 12th and 13th, which is, I guess, going to be this weekend into early next week. So here we go. So this is the upper air pattern right now. As you can see the map on the left, that's a 12Z Wednesday operational European. It shows a 500 millibar pattern valid for February 10th. And again, there's your big trough in the western United States, right? That's the one which crashed into California several days ago. And you get an equally strong ridge on the east coast. And any low pressure that forms in Texas and Oklahoma has to go up along the ridge. So this is not a snowstorm pattern. I know there are people out there trying to monger. I know the GFS has been showing it. The GFS is full of shit. It's wrong. Okay, the operational ones are wrong. So for the I-95 corridor, we'll get to that in just a second. Also notice that the NAO is positive, and so is the Arctic Oscillation. So again, getting an I-95 snowstorm with a big ridge, a lot of warmth the day before, positive AO, positive NAO, it's not going to happen. It really isn't. And these are our temperature anomalies for the next 5 days up to February 12th. It's pretty darn impressive. Really quite impressive. Now, the biggest anomalies relative to normal are west of the Appalachians because temperatures are usually colder. So the same air mass, which is, let's say, 54 degrees in Indianapolis, will give you a temperature anomaly of 14 or 15 degrees above normal. But in Richmond, or Central Virginia or D.C. or in Philly, that's 6, 7, 8 degrees above normal. It's not quite the same thing. All right. Now, this is how we get the February 12th and 13th event. So there's your big trough right here. Let me blow it up so you can see it a little more. Okay? And there's your low coming out of it, right into western Texas. And there's the ridge. Now, you see the ridge on the East Coast? You're having a little bit of blocking in Greenland, but it's not enough. And that ridge is still very strong. So it's going to go up the Appalachians. Now, at some point, when this northern energy gets, the northern energy here, when this northern energy gets involved in the system, the low is going to jump to the coast, but I don't know how much cold air is going to be involved here. A lot of this is going to fall as rain in I-95. Now, Boston may go over to snow. New York City may go over to snow. Of course, Connecticut will go over to snow. And it could snow hard. They could get good snow out of it. This is not out of the question. But I'm not even sure about that. So let's just play it by ear and see. There's certainly a possibility. But south of New York City, it's all right. Now, in the mountains of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, western Maryland, yeah, they have a pretty good chance of some snow. All right. Now, this was the 0Z Wednesday model, okay? So we're looking at 0Z Wednesday, right? Here you go, right here, 0Z Wednesday. Okay, so there is the main low going through southern Virginia off the coast. You can see the snow shield here very nicely. And then it moves straight east, and you get heavy snow, moderate snow, down in Allentown, Philly, northern New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, southeast New York, Newburgh, Poughkeepsie, southern New England. Okay. Now, that's a viable solution. I think it's way too far south. The GFS is often too far south at this range. Now, this was the 6Z run. The 6Z run went bonkers, as everybody knows. Notice the low here is now further north. This was the 0Z run. It went through central and southern Virginia. The 6Z run, it's further north. And, of course, now you have the rain snow line as up to New York City and up into central Pennsylvania. Now, you do have heavy snow here from the 6Z run here in Ohio. Look at this. West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, western Pennsylvania, and then it jumps to the coast and it bombs out. And it flashes over to heavy snow in New York and Boston, Connecticut, and Providence, and Rhode Island, and all of New York State, and all of Pennsylvania, and northern New Jersey. Okay, maybe, but again, I think it's too far south. And you can see here, this is the 6Z GFS ensemble, and you see what it's doing. It's taking it up through Virginia, then off the coast. So the problem is how much cold air do you have ahead of it, and you don't have any. We have this very warm air mass ahead of it. You just don't have it. So that's the problem. So, this looks like a great track, and it looks like a good track for the northern mid-Atlantic and New England. It's an Asheville, maybe. This looks like it's an Asheville. Let me see if I can blow it up. Yeah, it looks about Asheville, something like that. And then it moves off the southern New Jersey Delmarva coast. Good. That's a good track for New York, maybe even northeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe Philly. New England looks like a great track. Now, it's not as extreme as the operational run, but it's a good track. But again, I just do not know in this sort of pattern how much cold air you're going to have ahead of this. Looks like all south winds to me ahead of the system. So there's that. And then this is the 12Z GFS. All right. And it's even further north. Okay. So this was the 6Z GFS. Look at it. You see that? See where it is there? Okay. You see off of Norfolk, east of Norfolk. Now look where it is on the 12Z run. Oops, the 12Z run. There it is. It's just south of New York City. That's a big difference. So, and New York City's raining at this point. So is Philly. So is Allentown. Now, it might go over to snow. Boston's got rain, or rain and snow mix. Southern Connecticut's rain. Rhode Island is rain. It's too far north, trending north, no doubt about it. The 18Z, this is, let me go. This is the 12Z GFS ensemble, and you can see here that the low is now, remember before it was in Asheville, right down here, look where it is in western North Carolina. Now look where it is on the 12Z GFS. Oh, it's in Roanoke. It's further north. And you look where the track is, further north, right across, not off the Norfolk at all, not off of Delmarva, but just south of Long Island. With this much warm air ahead of the system, that's all rain. Mountains of New York State, northern half of New England, western Pennsylvania, sure, snow, got it. But not with that much warm air ahead of the system. Here's the European. The 12Z European, much more consistent. Look, coming up from Arkansas, right through Nashville, right across central Virginia, and you can see the rain snow line is way north of New York and moving north of Boston. It's almost up by Albany. And it's raining in Pittsburgh. I mean, come on, all right? And then the 12Z, this is the, 6Z and 12Z European. And notice here, you don't have any flip-flop. You don't see the low shifting north like you do in the GFS. This shows you the superiority of the European. Okay, so again, my marker right here, call it up, you can see it. There's the 6Z European, valid 1 p.m. on February 12th. What the low is. The low is in eastern West Virginia. 12Z run, eastern West Virginia. No change, none. Consistency, boys and girls, consistency. It matters. And from a forecast perspective, this is the 18Z GFS. Oh, look, it's further north. Again, we started out, just to drive home the point here, boys and girls, we started out early on Wednesday morning, east of Norfolk and maybe Wobbs Island. Now we are on the 18Z GFS in Philly and southern New Jersey and Atlantic City. Big difference. It's a big difference. Now, once the low gets to the coast, if it jumps to more east than northeast, then yes, it could go over to snow in Philly and Allentown, and definitely going to get a lot of snow in northeast Pennsylvania. They're going to get pounded. But this looks like a Poconos Catskill snowstorm to me. And then yes, New England could go over in Boston, go back over to snow very easily, very easily. I'm not dismissing that at all. But initially, those areas look like rain to start. Okay. And if you look at the 18Z and GFS ensemble, now look at this. Let me show you when I'm blowing this up a little bit. Look where that low is. It's way inland. Way inland. And here's the thing. Look at the numbers. See all the red numbers? They're actually west of the mean. That implies this could be further west. Okay? So again, you people out there wanting that big snowstorm, okay, fine, I get it. I want one too. But, you have to look at the data. Look at all the red numbers west of the mean. That's not good. Now, here is when you get off the coast, you can see very close to New York City. That's probably too close to the coast given the lack of cold air. Now, if we had Arctic air, we had cold air in place here, okay, this would be a great snowstorm track for New York City, for northeast Pennsylvania, maybe even Philly and New England. But we don't have any cold air ahead of it. So this is too close. It's too close to the coast. Okay, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. All right. Let's go on to the next thing. Let's look at our teleconnections. Now, I've presented this image before, so we know that there are four teleconnections that dominate the weather pattern in North America. Okay, so we have two on the Pacific side here, P&A, EPO, and two on the Atlantic side, the AO and the NAO. All right. So the P&A is the West Coast ridge, or when it's negative, a West Coast trough. That's the P&A. The EPO is the Alaskan ridge, Alaskan trough. All right. When the EPO is negative, you have cross-polar flow coming in from Russia, Siberia. You want that if you want cold and snow, okay? On the Atlantic side, you have the Arctic Oscillation, which you want to be negative, and the NAO, which you want to be negative. So again, up here, that's what you want if you want cold and snowy pattern for the eastern third of the country, all right? Negative EPO, positive P&A, negative AO, negative NAO. That's what we want. Let's see what the teleconnections are showing. Okay, this is the Atlantic side. Look at the Arctic oscillations. You can see right now it was February 2nd, it was strongly positive. Now it's headed towards neutral. Now we're slightly below negative. And you see it goes sharply negative. February 15th all the way to 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Strongly negative. The NAO it's negative now, and it actually slowly increases negative, stays negative right through February 24th. Almost the end of the month. On the Pacific side, we're going to look at the EPO and the P&A, okay? Pacific side. The EPO is neutral right now, as you can see. There it is, we're neutral right now. And then it goes negative. That's what you want to see. Negative right through the end of the month. And the P&A pattern is generally positive, as you can see that. So again, that's ideal. So for the teleconnections are good. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, it just means it's setting up. And this is the first time this winter. All four of these are ideal. The first time this winter, all four are ideal. I cannot emphasize that enough. All right. Let's talk about February 19th to 20th. So the last 10 days or so, the extended models have been showing a major pattern change across North America after February 14, 15. In this case, the 500 millibar pattern is going to undergo major amplification, okay, of the pattern across North America. So that by the middle of February, or maybe by February 15th, let's call it that one. Now that we are within 7 days of mid-February, we can begin to have a little more confidence in how things are going to develop. Now keep in mind, all right, that we're just talking about a possibility. We're not going hog wild here. February 9th to the 20th, just a possibility. There have been other threats this winter that look great at 8 days, 9 days, 7 days, 10 days, 12 days out, and they've fallen apart as they get close to the event. Okay. I will point out that it is common during strong and super El Niños for the winters to be mild except for one or two events where you get your moderate or big East Coast storms, usually in February and March when the El Niño is weakening. Okay? So there we go. All right, let's talk about the big picture. So this just, I want to show you the change of how pattern change looks like. This is the pattern here for February 10th, and this is the pattern for February 17th. That's a week difference. See the difference here? Massive changes. Look at the monster ridge here in Western Canada and the upper low. See what's happening here is, let me bring this front. Okay, so the jet stream coming in the Pacific splits into two branches. Really, three branches when you think about it. There's your blocking pattern, your negative NAO. There's your big 50-50 low over Southeast Canada, and a split flow pattern. This is great. That's exactly what you want to see for a big East Coast storm. Doesn't mean you're going to get one, but that's what you want to see. The streams have to phase. They have to merge. So just because they split doesn't mean they're going to merge. It means you have a better chance of them merging, but that's all it is just a chance. Now the temperatures get really cold. Look at this. Now these are ensembles, all right? So here, this one on the left is the GFS ensemble, valid February 14th. The black line, that's the rain snow line. 0 degrees, 850. It's down into northern Alabama, northern South Carolina. Okay, and then here, north of this -8, -9, that's Arctic cold up in here. And this is the European, valid February 18th. Okay, you can see the cold. So it's plenty of cold air around this time. That's not going to be a problem. All right, so what happens is, what we see, obviously, this is the 12Z, Wednesday operational European, valid for the 17th of February. Several things to look at. The jet stream splits, like I mentioned, as it approaches California, which is always a potentially significant development when it comes to East Coast winter storms. The southern jet has a big piece of energy. You see that upper low in Texas, right in here, northern Mexico? That's the southern energy. Then you have the big ridge in Western Canada bringing down the cold air. And you have the big block in Greenland. And the surface map indicates very nicely that you have a big cold high, and there's a look at the low down in Texas and Oklahoma. That's a lot of moisture. Now, is it going to come north? I don't know. It could. We have to wait and see. I don't know yet. I'm not going to flip out over this yet. It looks great, but so far, so what? Doesn't mean anything at this point. And then finally, this is now February. The map on the left is from the Wednesday European Ensemble, February 17th, and then February 19th. Now, here on the ensemble, again, this matches. Let me blow this map up so you can see it. Okay, this overall map matches this overall map. See how similar they are? This. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Okay, it looks pretty good. And as you can see what's going on here, we have the southern energy right down in here, right? Split flow, big ridge, blocking pattern 50-50 low. It's got all the markings of a potential big East Coast winter storm. Doesn't mean you're going to get one, just potential. And then you can see the system is there on February 19th. Now, maybe this low is going to stay too far south. That's possible. We don't know yet. So anyway, the potential coming up. All right, that's it. On February 19th to 20th. Then after that, again, if the MJO goes in the neutral circle, I think we're going to lose the pattern. And I don't know what's going to happen there in late February and March. Wait and see. I'm not committed to that, but it could. This is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I'll see you over on the Twitter page and over on the website and the Facebook page.